What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about my R6 settings. So I'm going to go through each one of these categories and tell you guys the best settings for each. Alright, starting in general, for ping, obviously you probably want to keep this on. It shows all the pings in game, like the red and yellow pings. For display performance metrics, you can turn this on if you want to see your FPS, but me personally, I don't have this on. Connectivity feedback, this just tells you all of the icons. It tells you what's going on with your PC. For example, latency, jitter, packet loss. You don't have to have these on. Obviously, this is like a personal preference thing. Stun visual effect. When you get stunned, you can either have it pop up as white or pop up a dark glare. Me personally, I like it to be dark just because the flashbangs when I'm playing at night, it really hurts my eyes. Cycle inside camera groups. I personally have mine off because I like to just be able to cycle through all of the different camera groups without having to press different buttons. User pickup. Me personally, I have mine on both because I think it is useful to be able to run over it and to be able to obviously pick it up with the button with F. Visible throw trajectory. I obviously have this one on because it shows you where your gadget and or utility is going that you're throwing. Drone after prep, I have mine on semi-automatic. Most of the time I'm not going to be using my drone after prep phase, but that one time when I do want to, I can still use it if I have to. So for match replay, this doesn't really matter unless you're going to be going back and like looking at games you're going to be playing, which actually is a pretty good thing to do. But if you don't plan on doing that, then you can just turn this off. This doesn't really matter. I keep mine on just in case. Text chat channel, I keep mine on all just because sometimes I like to troll the enemy team a little bit, maybe type out to them. Honestly, if you're just trying to win and you don't want to get distracted, I'd either have it on disabled or on team. Let's play communication. I have this on as well just so I can talk to the console players that are on my team. Moving on to HUD. Me personally, I have everything on. Every single one of these on except for loadout inputs. You should probably keep this on if you're not sure like which buttons do what on your keyboard. But for me, I know what they do and I kind of like how it looks without all the buttons showing up on my screen. Yeah, pretty much everything else is on. Alright, for audio, this is actually a very important section right here. Spoken language, obviously. Put it on the language that you speak and use subtitles in language. And obviously you can put this on whatever, to be honest. Like I just put it on whatever this language is. Okay. Back to English. Alright, subtitles. I don't like subtitles. You can put them on if you want them though. If you want to see what the people are saying. Okay, so this is where there's a lot of debate and a lot of fighting going on for what is the best. You honestly should probably test these out, but I would say either choose hi-fi or night. So hi-fi, it's the most dynamic, the least compressed. Basically what that means, you don't hear the sounds as loud, but you can tell where they're coming from. More like directional, more dynamic audio coming out instead of just really loud sounds that you can hear. But for night mode, it's the opposite. Sounds are super loud, but you can't hear where they're coming from. I personally like night mode better just because I can hear some stuff that I usually wouldn't be able to hear on. Alright, I got master volume 100, in-game sound effects 100, in-game music, I don't have that on. Menu sound effects, I have that on 50, menu music 0, I don't like the music. Voiceover volume, I have it on 70, but I might honestly turn this down because they do kind of distract. Voiceover presets, as you can see right here, there's a bunch of different like modes, bunch of different presets you can have on this. I personally have them all on just because that's always how I've played. But if you actually don't like the voiceovers, you can set it to minimal. Then it'll only tell you the ones you need to hear. Like when someone's blinded, taking damage, or down. HQ voiceover, obviously I have this just because it's the in-game announcer. It tells you when there's like 15 seconds left, bomb has been planted, stuff. Mono stereo output, always keep yours on stereo. Because if you put it on mono, okay, so they play one sound through both of your earpieces instead of separating the sound between left and right. You on unfocused, this means when you're tabbed out of the game, you either have it to where you can still hear what's going on in the game, still hear game chat, still hear sounds and all this, or if you have mute on unfocused on, you won't be able to hear anything when you're tabbed out of the game. Obviously, audio input and output. This is your mic, this is your headphones. Set it to whatever yours is. Voice chat volume. Sorry, my mouse wheel is kind of broken. Voice chat volume. I have mine on 82 because there's some people with really loud mics and then there's also some people with really quiet mics. So I like to keep it kind of towards the top, but also a little lower. So I'm on PC, I keep my input mode to push to talk. I'm playing with some friends on console and they don't want to join up a Discord. I will put my thing on open mode though. But volume, I have mine on 88. You obviously have to mess with your headphones, see what works, see what sounds the best. I have the input sensitivity on 35. All right, moving on to display. So first, top one, display adapter. You obviously want this to be on your graphics card. Monitor, have it on the right monitor. You got two different options. All right, resolution. Me personally, I like to play on 1080p. If you have 1440p, there's going to be another option to the right here, but 1080p is my personal favorite. So for refresh rate, you're gonna want this as high as it can go. Me personally, I have a 360 hertz refresh rate monitor. Most people have 120, 165, 144, so I'd put it at whatever your maximum is. Aspect ratio. So again, this is kind of personal preference. I personally like to have my aspect ratio on 4:3 just because it stretches out the body and it makes the body more easy to hit in the head. I recommend going through all of these. I wouldn't do resolution or auto. I'd recommend trying all of these. 5:4 is good, 4:3 is good, 3:2 is also good. I like these. 16:10 if you have a widescreen. 5:3 is another good one. 16:9, that's just basically resolution. 19:10 and 21:9 if you have a very wide monitor. I personally always have VSync off just because it can cause input lag and drop your frame rate. Basically what it does, it synchronizes the game to your monitor refresh rate, and it can eliminate screen tearing. It's pretty much the only good thing it does. All right, so for FPS limit, I personally have to have mine on off just because the highest FPS limit is 144. And you want to try to match your refresh rate. So if you're not going over 144, then obviously just cap it here. There's a bunch of different ones, 144, 120, 90, 75, 60, 30. I personally have mine off so I can get the full potential out of my monitor. Widescreen letterbox, yeah, definitely not. Don't turn this on. It's like the movie mode where it's gonna have black bars top and bottom of your screen. So for field of view, I have mine on 86, but I switch between 84, 86. The highest I'll probably go is like 88 for this FOV. To be zoomed in a lot, I like to be able to see my opponents clearly. So this is one that I actually do different most other people, the HUD display menu. So usually would be right here, right? So this is what shows like your loadout. So like your guns and your gadget will be right here. Stuff at the top, obviously. I like to keep mine down here on 82 so it comes out a little better and I can see it easier. So now it would be right here instead of down here. It's just easier for me to see personally. Menu display area, this pretty much does the same thing. Change it, zooms out a little more. So for brightness, I have mine on 65. This is kind of on the higher end. Most people keep theirs like 50, 60 maximum. I like to have mine just a little bit brighter so I can make sure I see everything. So for graphics, if you don't have like a beast PC, if you don't think you can run ultra on your maximum refresh rate, maximum FPS, I'd just go low. It doesn't look as good, but it gives you the best performance. So texture quality. Me personally, I have everything on low except for shadow quality, just so you can see the shadows a little better. But yeah, like shading quality, reflection, all this is all low. Except for when you scroll down, anti-aliasing. This is another one of those things where you might not want to have this. It just kind of like blurs the edges and makes pixels not seem as sharp and like pixely, if you know what I mean. So for render scaling, this is basically an upscaling process. The higher you have this, the more it'll come close to your actual resolution. I have mine on 100, so it's at 1920 1080p. If you're not able to hit your peak performance, you can obviously try turning this down. And as you see in the bottom right here, when I switch from 100 to 65, it drops 200 megabytes of my VRAM. It's going to make the game look a lot worse, but is worth it in the end if you want to have good performance, you know? Sharpness, obviously, this is like to get rid of the blurring. The too much blur on the edges kind of like sharpens them a little bit. That's why it's called sharpness. All right, so for controls, drone speed boost, I have mine on toggle. I just like to hold the button down, hold the sprint button down, you know what I'm saying? Raw input, keyboard and mouse, I have mine on. I think this comes on default. I never played on off, so I don't know how it really works. Let's keep mine on. Mouse look conversion, I don't like that, so I have mine off. So go to sensor, and I'm currently playing at 400 DPI. This is my DPI, as you can see right here, and at 400. So I'm at 400 DPI, and my sensitivity is 2020. Keep these both the same. All right, so moving on to mouse ADS sensitivity. Me personally, I like to have mine at a 1:1 ratio. So to do that, you're gonna want to have 58 on the 1.0, and then somewhere between 114 and 118 at 2.5 if you want it to be perfect. I have it on 116. Me personally, I like to have mine on 114 and then 57. I don't mess with the 3.5 just because I don't use the 3.5 magnification. So as I was saying earlier, my mouse wheel is actually like broken. When I scroll, sometimes it doesn't scroll, sometimes it goes the wrong way. So I have mouse scroll to switch weapons off. Gadget deployment, I have mine on advanced. So when you click the gadget button, you have to hold click to actually put it down instead of just holding the gadget button. Drone deployment, I have mine on advanced. So when you throw a drone, it won't automatically switch to your phone to look at the camera. It's obviously good if you're trying to drone in like a dangerous area or you're trying to bait someone out with the drone. So for aim, I have mine on hold, definitely not toggle. For lean, I have mine on toggle. You can change this if you want. This is all like personal preference, but me personally, I have my lean on toggle just because I don't like to hold the button. Sprint, I have mine on hold. Just allows for a little bit more precise movement. Crouch, I have this on toggle just because I don't like to hold the crouch. You know what I mean? So for prone, I actually have this on hold. If you've ever heard of the Hashone peak or the prone peak, having your prone on hold makes this a lot easier. Instead of having to double tap prone, you can just hold it, let go, hold it, let go. Right, and then walk, I obviously have this on hold too because it's a lot more precise. Moving on to control. Scoreboard, have it on tab, text chat all, T, text chat team, Y, send text, enter, push to talk. I have mine on G just because when I'm playing, I can press G with my thumb without having to like look down, without having to move anything up, any important like is off the keyboard. I just use my thumb and I can still move around fine, still throw grenades and everything. Before I go on, I just want to say my settings are very weird and you guys might not like them, but there's a chance you guys might. So move forward. Obviously all my move keys are WASD, and this is where it gets weird. Lean left and lean right, I have it on my side mouse button. I know that might seem weird to you guys, but I personally don't like to use Q and E. It doesn't work for me. I have my keyboard sideways, so it's kind of hard. So I have my lean left on mouse 5, and I have my lean right on mouse 4. Both of my mouse keys. And I've gotten used to this, so I'm definitely not going to switch. Sprint and fast repel, shift, navigate. I don't even know what that means, but it's on space. Crouch, change repel stance, C. Prone, mine's X. Walk, mine is B. Just because I like to press all of these. Crouch, prone, walk, and I think this is supposed to be mantle and jump. I like to press them all with my thumb. Shoot, you wouldn't believe it. Is left click, aim, right click, reload R, interact F, melee V, primary gadget. I have mine on 4. I rebound my DPI button, which is this button right here. Rebound that to be 4. So I press my DPI button whenever I want to bring up my gadget, right? And then secondary gadget, it's click on the mouse wheel. Enter observation tools, have mine on 5, which is the default. Deploy drone, 6, that's the default. Select primary weapon, 1. This is pretty much how you switch weapons. Select secondary weapon, is 2. You can change those if you want though. If you find something to be easier. Ping and character, I have mine on Z. Switch ability mode, which would be like on Zofia or on Sense. And switch the sense walls on and off. Or on Zofia, you can switch between the 2 different types of rockets. Capiteo, same thing, you switch between the 2 different types of arrows. Drop diffuser, I have mine on control. Pretty simple. It used to be on X, but I switched my prone for this, obviously. And observation tool controls is all the same. Shoot, it's the same. Jump is the same. Scan opponent, mine's on X. Specific action, right click. I don't know what that does. Specific action 2, F. Cycle left. Q, cycle right, E. Group cycle left, 1. Group cycle right, 3. Exit observation tools, I have mine on 5. Ping and observation tool, I got mine on Z. Change operator, 7 again. Speed boost, shift. Drone jump trajectory. This is a new one. Basically what this does, if you click the button, it shows where your drone is going to jump and land. Kind of like the gadget version where it shows you where your gadget's going to go when you're throwing it. So for spectator cameras and match replay, I'm actually not going to go over any of this because I have all mine on default. And if you want to see how to do this, you can check your settings. I actually don't use a controller, so Obviously, as you can imagine, I'm not going to go over controller setting. Moving on to privacy. This is nothing really crazy. You can appear as a nickname, or you can appear as you. Hide avatar. That's a good one. Rename other players. Obviously, this is like stream. Obviously, this is like streamer mode. If you turn it on, or like rename your opponents to streamer friendly names. Hidden matchmaking delay. I've never personally used this. All right, moving on to the final category: accessibility. Green optic, 100% opacity. Screen shake, I have this off just so obviously my screen doesn't shake when like grenades go off, when breach charges go off. It just helps me see. So here's motion blur. People turn this off, but me personally, I like to have it on just because when you have it off, whenever you get shot, it covers your screen in like super big like blood, and it kind of blocks, kind of obstructs your field of vision. Stun visual effects. I feel like I already talked about this, but I'll talk about it again. So I have mine on dark glare just because I don't like to get flashbanged IRL. I like it to turn my screen dark instead of bright white. Hurts my eyes. Me personally, you might think this is weird, but I have my team colors swapped. So the reason I do this, if I'm flanking or something like that, I like to have the opposing team color as blue, which stands out a lot more than red does. Think about if you're on cafe and you're coming up red stairs and they have claymore set. You might not see the red laser as easily as you'd see the blue one. So that's literally the only reason I have this on. So I can see like observation tools and stuff a lot better. Convert text chat to voice. I definitely do not recommend that. Convert voice chat to text. This could maybe be helpful. You don't want to talk in game chat, but I don't know why you just wouldn't talk. Chat skill. Got mine at, it's the default's like 100, I think, right? I got mine at 150, just so you guys can see it when it pops up on the screen. Chat background opacity. I got mine on transparent. Obviously, if you don't like that, you can switch it. Semi-transparent or opaque is non-see-through. That was everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more helpful like tip videos like this, leave a like. Let me know down in the comments. That's the best way for you guys to communicate with me to keep making stuff like that. Or you could also just tell me that you don't want to see stuff like this and you want to see something else. You can let me know. You can let me know down in the comments. Either way, thank you for watching this far. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out, guys.